So lately I've been listening to these memoirs about pirates and captains. Um, just trying to, you know, just trying to keep my mind. See, my adopted father died on Monday, and I've just been sorry about that. Just I don't know, just just trying to, I guess, learn to live and trying to understand. So I've been listening to a lot of books in my spare time, and on the way to work, and just thinking. And this book, I mean, I've gained a lot of things. I've confirmed a lot of things, like um, the voyages of Captain Cook. It really starts to explain some of the finer stuff that um, what's his, the Spanish held the Pacific Ocean, and that for the longest time, no European, today's version of the European, not the original European, but no European had ever ventured into the Pacific Ocean. So that's one thing they always battled to be able to accomplish, you know. And there's other stuff. I just can't think of it right off the top of my head right now. Oh, the Spanish used to pick up whole villages in Spain. Whole villages in Spain when they felt they were overcrowded, and moved the whole village of people to one of their colonies in the Indies or wherever else to populate them. Like where we heard that before. So this one though, these are people that were marooned slaves from Europe that were marooned by their captain that eventually sailed. This is one of the lesser captains that so far I'm fond of at all. You get a chance, Peter Blood, Captain Blood, the book. Far men with two different mindsets. One, Captain Peter Blood's an Irishman that fell in love with a black woman and wanted to prove his love to her, and to prove he wasn't a barbarian. Tried to remain civil through all his endeavors as a buccaneer. So of course, you can't make a movie or make this guy famous because he fell in love with a black woman, and that's just not the way that this is all gonna go down, right? Oh, a black English woman too at that. That was the other thing. I was listening to Peter Blood's ventures, and they knew black people were in England. And it really starts to bother you because it's like, wait a minute. Every time you turn around, all these stories about these captains are about their people being enslaved, them being punished for crimes and put into slavery, but you never see any slave movies about them. Why? Where's that bombardment? It's just a curious thought. But this one here, like I said, these guys were marooned on one of the islands in the Indian Ocean. They eventually get off these islands and make their way to Madagascar. They've made their way into Africa. And I mean, this captain here, man, every time he turn around, his suggestion is always steal, kill, kill and steal, kill and steal. I mean, he won't stop, nonstop. And it's only the older men that are with him that hold him back from wanting to kill everybody he comes across, But throughout this, from the time they've landed in Africa and they're making their way to the Congo River, they're trying to get in contact with the Dutch and so on and so forth. I mean, and look. If you listen to this book, if you read this book, I'm telling you, it's gonna be frustrating because this dude's over here talking about, you know, they purposely went to a battle with some Negroes, and because they didn't want to carry their own luggage, like literally it was they didn't have any horses, any camels, any beast of burden, so we don't want to carry our own food, our luggage, so let's go capture some people to put them as slaves so they would carry our ammunition and water. Oh, that was the other thing. The Negro gets a quart of water, but all of them get 3 quarts of water a day, and they're wandering through a desert. You like, that, oh, but don't worry, the Negro can last. You know, but and it's, I mean, constantly since they've been in Africa, it's Negro, black person, savage. I forget the other thing they called them. So when you'll be in the same boat with me, boat, get it? You know, we're talking about pirates and captains. You're gonna be shocked like me when they're getting close to the Congo River. This blew me. This is the thing that I guess just blew me out of my depression. I guess out of my lowly state. They're getting close to the Congo River, and they mention this. Here, let's play it.
Section 13 of Captain Singleton. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Reading by Dennis Sayers. The Life, Adventures, and Piracies of the Famous Captain Singleton by Daniel Defoe. Well, notwithstanding this, we ventured. For, to men that had passed such wild places as we had done, nothing could seem too desperate to undertake. We ventured, I say, and the rather because we saw very high mountains in our way at a great distance, and we imagined wherever there were mountains, there would be springs and rivers. Where rivers, there would be trees and grass. Where trees and grass, there would be cattle. And where cattle, some kind of inhabitants. At last, in consequence of this speculative philosophy, we entered this waste, having a great heap of roots and plants for our bread, such as the Indians gave us, a very little flesh or salt, and but a little water. We traveled 2 days towards those hills, and still they seemed as far off as they did at first, and it was the 5th day before we got to them. Indeed, we traveled but softly, for it was excessively hot, and we were much about the very equinoctial line. We hardly knew whether to the south or the north of it. As we had concluded that where there were hills there would be springs, so it happened. But we were not only surprised, but really frightened, to find the first spring we came to, and which looked admirably clear and beautiful, to be as salt as brine. It was a terrible disappointment to us, and put us under melancholy apprehensions at first. But the gunner, who was of a spirit never discouraged, told us we should not be disturbed at that, but be very thankful, for salt was a bait we stood in as much need of as anything, and there was no question but we should find fresh water as well as salt. And here our surgeon stepped in to encourage us, and told us that if we did not know, he would show us a way how to make that salt water fresh, which, indeed, made us all more cheerful, though we wondered what he meant. Meantime, our men, without bidding, had been seeking about for other springs, and found several, but still they were all salt, from whence we concluded that there was a salt rock or mineral stone in those mountains, and perhaps they might be all of such a substance. But still, I wondered by what witchcraft it was that our artist, the surgeon, would make this salt water turn fresh, and I longed to see the experiment, which was indeed a very odd one. But he went to work with as much assurance as if he had tried it on the very spot before. He took 2 of our large mats and sewed them together, and they made a kind of a bag 4 feet broad, 3 feet and a half high, and about 1.5 feet thick when it was full. He caused us to